great day for us in District 8. You know, when I was first elected 9 years ago, almost 9 years ago, I toured the district to see what all we had, and I saw this and realized we didn't have much at the time. I saw Holiday Park Community Center, which was a shell of a tilt-up concrete warehouse with roll-up doors and kind of bathrooms, but in a beautiful park setting. I went to Bear Canyon Senior Center that had heating and air conditioning that didn't work, bathrooms and facilities of all kinds that weren't ADA compliant. Now tell me how that works in a senior center. Not well. It does not work well. So I was lucky to be able to meet some of the wonderful people in the city who know how to get things done. And I was able to develop a relationship with them, with our state legislators, with both mayors that I've served under. And I'm pleased to say we've been able to do some great things in District 8. But this is a gem. This is a gem for us. Any of you who have been here before will realize what we had and what this has done. It's totally different. I'm going to tell you very briefly, because we're not going to take much time, before I thank all the people involved. You know, libraries have been extremely important in my life. I grew up on a farm in Nebraska. I lived miles away from the city of 750 people. So I was the country girl, that was the city. We had a library. And it didn't take long, I think probably about the third grade, that I realized that the library and books could take me anywhere I wanted to be. They took me around the world. They introduced me to world leaders. They introduced me to different continents. They introduced me to a life that I would never have seen. That's what libraries have done for me. They've given me an education in everything you could imagine. If you have a curiosity, that's what libraries and books do to you. I could only go to the library once a week when my mother would take us to town to get groceries. And the library had a rule that you could only check out 2 books at a time. Obviously, I must have made an impression. The librarian made a rule for me and I could take 7 books, which I would read in that week's time and take back and get 7 more. And I didn't care what they were about. I just loved the words. I loved the imagination it has. And I must say, I'm very pleased that our libraries and our children today have access to the electronic age, and they can have books on their whatever device they have, but it's not the same. You no longer use your imagination. You no longer make in your mind what the people's voices sound like. You no longer imagine what a place looks like. It's all put in front of you. And I think one of the greatest things in our development in this life is causing our imagination to make things the way we want them to be. And that's how I got to Albuquerque, and I became a city councilor. I made my imagination make a place that I wanted to be. So this is why this library is so important. And I want to talk about what we started. You know, this building first opened in 1983. This is the first major renovation of this library since 1983. And you can imagine the wear and tear it's had and the number of people who have enjoyed this and come through. This is a total representation of $1,607,000. $1,340,000 came from the city of Albuquerque and $267,000 from the state of New Mexico. And I want to thank all the people who have helped with that. And thank you, Representative Jimmy Hall. We're going to let him speak. In addition, the Library Foundation worked hard and got a grant from Lockheed for $6,000. They have also helped tremendously in this. That grant from Lockheed helped with the teen center equipment and the furnishings. So thank you. Let me recognize some of the people who represent this district and the different areas that have helped with this in so many ways. The state representatives Nate Gentry from District 3, Jimmy Hall, of course, from District 28, Conrad James, District 24, our state senators, William Payne, District 20, Lisa Tarraco, District 18, and then, of course, the people who did the hands-on work. Our architectural team, Tina Reams, and her group from Cherry C. Reams Architects. Just raise your hands as part of the team so we know who you are. Contractor was Anchor Built Construction. Ray Zamora, president. Hugo's the project manager. I told Hugo I was not going to try to pronounce his name because of it. And Rick Morris, the superintendent. The DMD project manager, Steve James. Steve was one of our greatest assets. And of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention my policy analyst, Aziza Chavez, who was here constantly, coordinated, made the money work, told us what money we could spend where, what to do. And I must say, she is very much a penny pincher and kept these guys all under control. There was no wasteful spending on this project, trust me. So thank you, Aziza, for being the eyes and ears and the work of this office. Thank you. Melissa Lazoya, who's the acting director of DMD, Jim Hamill, the CIP official, Jim's here. Cultural Services Director Dana Feldman was supposed to be here, but she got sick yesterday. Library Director, you've met and know, Dean Smith. Our Juan Tabo Library Manager, Britta Sauer, and the Library Foundation Board Member, Judy Gibbon, who is here. Let me tell you a few of the things we did, and then we're going to let Judy come up and talk to you. And we will cut the ribbon so we can all have cookies and sandwiches. The original renovation in 2012 was for $459,000. We put on a new roof, new clear story windows. We removed the wall carpeting. Boy, what a difference that made. We painted the ceiling, the trusses, and the walls. Last year, the Juan Tabo Library hosted 145,981 visits. That is over 560 citizens a day. And we're going to get more now. We circulated 258,849 items, which was books, DVDs, CDs, magazines, and seeds. That's 965 items a day. We gave 41,577 computer sessions, and we issued 2,743 library cards. That is what our library is supposed to do. We have reached the entire city. This is not a district project. This is a city project. So, one other item, and that's the one that Britta has worked on, and this is amazing, and that is the Seed Library. Never heard of it before she started it. The Juan Tabo Library is the home of the Seed Library, where citizens can borrow local and heirloom seeds for their own gardens. The program is volunteer-run and supported with donations of seeds and money, coordinated by the Juan Tabo Library manager, Britta. So you can see we touch every area, every age group, and it's not just books, it is community that we have formed here. So thank you all. I would like to ask Representative Hall to come speak, and then we will ask Robin to come up and cut the meetings. So, Representative Hall, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Jones. And it's a pleasure to be here today, and isn't it wonderful to see where your state money is actually going to? You hear about those port projects, the capital outlay projects that go awry, but it's really special to have this. My legislative duties take me to rural New Mexico frequently, and rural libraries, in many of the cases, are the center of the area. And this library has been here and been the center for a long time. I routinely support Roadrunner Little League and Mile High. And then whenever mommies and daddies say, well, there's nothing for the kids to do, I'll say, when was the last time you visited the library? And sadly to say, most of them say, we don't want to go downtown. I say, you don't have to go downtown. You've got it here. And one of my favorite selling spots is the big tree out here. It's fantastic to keep the kids or anybody else out there. And on the seed library, have we answered the question? Is it hatch red or that's a real big question that we have to ask. But no, it's good that we're here, that you enjoy this, and as much as it is for I talk about kids a lot. Many of the seniors have a phobia against computers, but they can still come to the library and find a helpful librarian person to talk to get answers. And so, thank you for your support, and thank you, Councilor, for working on this. And anybody that had anything to do with it, I certainly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. And of course, it would be very, do you have anything else you'd like to say?
Do you want to go over the new list?
Sure. Dean's
So-
going to give us a little bit more about what's happening.
So we'll talk a little bit, we're looking at the biggest, most important thing that's happened in this renovation, which is the community room. And there's a lovely program that's going to happen in there at 2 o'clock, so please stick around. There's a couple things that you don't see that were changed. One is the transformer was upgraded because it was getting a little small, and the HVAC was replaced, so we can certainly feel that one. We've got fabulous new restrooms, we've got new shelves, new carpeting, we've got new chairs, we've got new entrance with sliding doors, we've got new stucco on the outside, which is just stunning. And thanks very much to Tina for picking a beautiful color. We've got new LED lighting. We finally got a new parking lot and new sidewalks and a new ramp. And those things have just transformed the building so much. And part of that transformation is thanks to the Library Foundation. So if Judy Gibbon could come up, she's going to represent the foundation. They have worked to raise funds for buildings at Central and Unser, and now for Juan Tabo, and for the North Valley Library when it had its fire.
Well, thank you for being here this afternoon. My name is Judy Gibbon. I'm on the Library Foundation Board, and we were formed about 3 years ago, basically to support enhanced services for the library system. And we are happy today, as Councilor Jones said a minute ago, that we received a grant from Lockheed Martin, Sandia National Laboratories, for $6,000 for enhancements to the teen center. And as he mentioned a minute ago, we wanted to encourage teenagers to have a place to come where they're comfortable and can interact with things here in the library. So we're delighted to be a part of the library family, and again, thanks to Lockheed Martin.
Really.